All right, guys, Skyhook Garage here again with another one for you. This one's a little bit more specific, but we're working on a 2017 Aprilia RSV4, a double R, not the RF, but this video is good for both of them. And actually, this video is going to be good for 2016 and newer. Not sure when Aprilia is going to change the design, but this works for 2016, 17, and 18. Currently, RSV4s, RRs, or RFs. So what we're doing today is put an SC Project GP70R on this bad boy. Thing sounds amazing. And we had to disconnect the servo exhaust valve and get that tied up and out of the way. That's not its permanent position. We're going to want to tuck it down under the bike there, out of the way of moving parts, and so it's not looking all kind of funky hanging out there in the open. So like I said, this video is for getting at the servo motor up front. So before we get started, if you're putting exhaust on, the rear flapper valve is pretty easy to get to. You got your cable adjustments here. You got a 10 millimeter on the back side of the bracket, and then you also have the 10 millimeter on the front side. So the dark nut here and the lighter nut, they both move, and then that's how the cable adjusts. So when you go to take it off, it's going to be pretty simple. You just remove the top nut as much as you can, and then you should be able to snake the cable out of the bracket. There's tons of room. If you remove the stock exhaust out of the way, it gives you a little bit of room, and you can kind of, twist the pipe downward so you can get to that valve to get those cables off. So once those cables are off, that's not the only thing you have to do. The issue with, if you were to just remove these cables from the flapper valve back here on the muffler, because there's no spring tension keeping them kind of like a throttle valve, keeping, when one comes out and the other one goes in, and then vice versa, the cables get bound up at the servo motor, and then the servo motor stops moving properly. Then you're going to throw a check engine light. So as long as we disconnect the cables at the servo motor, you're not going to have issues. You're not going to have a check engine light. Now, before we continue further, I always recommend tuning a bike if you put an aftermarket exhaust on, just like older bikes, like this old dog right here. Got to change the jets if you're putting exhaust on it. So tune it, dyno tune it, go with the race map or the Corsa ECU map, whatever you want to do. Always try to change over to a different fuel map. The old muffler has the catalytic converter down in here, and it's much more restricted, and it's different airflow. And this, as you can see, this guy, hello, there's not a whole lot of airflow through there. Well, I'm sorry, quite the opposite, complete airflow. So, and on top of it, freaking sounds amazing. So, all right, so to start this job, real quick, some tools you're going to need: 10 millimeter wrench. You're going to want a couple Allen heads right here. You got a 4 millimeter. And you're going to want the next size up, 5 millimeter. So you don't need long ones like this. That's what I have. I got a couple other ones, but that's what I'm using today. So what we'll start with is we need to get this panel, the side panel, off of the bike. So you got Allen up here, got another one right here. Next thing is you have an Allen right here, which is going to be this guy right here. Then you also have a hidden Allen that attaches to the back side of this, which is going to go through right here. Take those guys out, and then what you'll want to do is go around to the front of the bike, and it's an easier picture from here, but on the inside of the radiator fan shroud, you got a clip here, another one here, and another one here. They come through the back side, or I should say the inboard side, looking in from the front of the bike. These clips are these guys right here, and then all you do is this tabby piece is pushed in, and then just get a flathead or a pick in there and just kind of pop this center piece out a little bit, and then this whole piece, you'll be able to grab it like that ish and just pull it out. So get those three out of the way. Once those are out of the way, your panel is going to be, bear with me for a second. All right, panel is going to kind of look like that. It's going to be down on these tabs a little bit. So what you'll want to do is pull it away slightly, all right? And you're going to have a clip, another one of those clips like on the inside of the fan shroud. It's going to be connecting through that hole that's right on the carbon fiber looking piece at the top of it, and it's going to mate into that hole right there on the side fairing. There's a little rubber grommet there that this pin resides in, and then as you can see, that hidden bolt down there clips in through the backside. Then the hard part is these two little vertical tabs here, they're going to receive into the bottom of this, the bottom of the piece of this. Get a better picture of it right there. So that's going to be a pain in the ass to get them off. Sometimes you can leave the fairing there and just let it hang. I don't like doing that, puts a lot of stress on those tabs. So just wiggle it back and forth gently, work it with your fingers, push down on those gray vertical tabs there, and this thing will pop up and free and out of the way. So set that down gently. Expensive body panels, don't want to scratch them. So then what you're going to be looking at is you're going to be looking at about this. All right, you got the bracket here, all right, and then bolted to the bracket is the servo motor. All right, now the servo motor will have a couple Allen bolts holding it in. All right, you'll have your post, which is another tool you're going to need. I forgot to mention that, I apologize. You're going to need 13 millimeter wrench. All right, this wrench right here, because this post right here is going to be sitting here, bolted into the frame here. All right, and then the servo is going to be held in by it also. So the servo is going to go on, then this post goes on. So the post is basically one of the hold downs for the bracket for the servo. All right, once you get the servo out of the way, you'll be able to turn it around. All right, these are your two spots that the cables are hooked into, and then the cables come in through the top. All right, and I'm going to set this down so I can explain this better. Sorry for the shaky camera. So this piece right here, goes on, and it's on there when you pull this motor off. Okay, cables are going to go through the top. Now I'm not showing the cables hooked up because I only got two hands. I wish I had a camera person to do it so I could actually show you fully. But the cables run in through the top here. And there are these guys. These guys right here. All right, they sit in the top of that. And then the groove right here on both of them, once they're in there, is held in by this guy right here, this clip. They sit in those grooves, then this clip slides on and holds them in place. Now, this clip is held on with a longer bolt. Longer bolt goes through. So you have a 10 millimeter on the back side of the servo and then an Allen head on the front. All right, so once you get the servo unbolted from the bracket of the bike, the only two things holding the bracket on are this one, and then there's two separate Allens, top and bottom of this bracket, that hold that clip in. So use the 10, hold the nut, Allen, take the bolt out, then this bracket will be able to come off. So you get the bracket out of the way. Now that you've disconnected the exhaust valve cables from the rear servo flapper in the exhaust, you should have plenty of slack to be able to get in here and slacken the cables up, pull them off. All right, they wrap around this thing into those grooves. Might have to work them around. Once they're out of there, you'll be able to slide the cables right off. So this servo motor, you can move it. You want to make sure if you do have to force move it like that, you definitely want the thing to be unplugged. Unplugging it is also going to help you do this job. Just make sure when you put this back together, you plug it back in. Cable's at the bottom. There's a little tab. It's hard to see. There's a little tang right in the center of that. Just push in on it. Push in on this tang, and this thing will slide out. So remove the cables from the servo. Reinstall the servo, make sure it's plugged in. All right, bolt everything back together, side panel back on, and should be good to go. Tuck everything away neatly. Up front here, there's plenty of room. You definitely want to make sure that these cables do not touch the fan here. So I would zip tie them together and then zip tie them up and out of the way somewhere where they're not going to touch anything. So put it back together and enjoy your new exhaust. It's going to be amazing. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, put comments, questions down below. I try to get to most comments that I do or that come in on the videos. So if you could, give me a thumbs up and tell everybody else about my videos and let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Till next time.